In a sign of yet another departure from the long-standing bipartisan approach Australia's taken to Israel, late last week the Labor government backed a UN resolution that recognised the permanent sovereignty of Palestinians, it says, in the occupied territories. Not only a slap in the face to our one ally in the Middle East, Israel, but it's also breaking ranks with our biggest ally, the United States, who voted no. A spokesperson for the Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, said the vote reflected, and I quote, international concern about Israeli actions that impede access to natural resources and ongoing settlement activity, land dispossession, demolitions and settler violence against Palestinians. Joining me now to discuss this big shock move, President of the Zionist Federation of Australia, Jeremy Liebler. Jeremy, thank you for your time. I wish we could get you on the program and be able to celebrate something the Australian government is doing on the world stage or here at home to support Israel. But I was shocked with this news the other day. What's been the reaction of your community?
Well, Peter, if you'd told me 12 months ago, so just after the 7th of October, that a year from then, while there were still over 100 hostages being held in Gaza, and while Israel's fighting a war on multiple fronts against proxies of Iran, that the Australian government would shift its position on a resolution that it has consistently voted against or abstained for the last 10 years, I would tell you that you're living in some sort of alternative universe. This resolution, in effect, and voting in favour of it, makes Australia part of the delegitimisation of the State of Israel at a time when it is fighting a war for its very existence. And I would never, ever have predicted that to be the case.
Isn't this just rewarding Hamas? Isn't this just rewarding Hamas for crossing into Israel, murdering over 1,000 people in the most brutal way and continuing its campaign to deny the very existence of Israel? This says to terrorists, do your worst and you can actually win hearts and minds at the UN.
Well, that's precisely what it does. And the irony of all of this is that it prolongs the war and it prolongs the suffering, because if Australia joined with other parts of the international community actually applying pressure where it belongs on Hamas, on Hezbollah and on Iran, well, that would bring an end to this war a lot faster. Just to give you a little bit of a flavour of these resolutions. One of the resolutions actually criticises Israel's building of its security fence in 2004. Prior to that, hundreds and hundreds of Israeli civilians were blown up in suicide bombings in cafes and restaurants, in hospitals and at bus stops. So Israel built a security fence to stop suicide bombers from entering its territory. And it was incredibly successful because the number of suicide incidents actually went pretty much to zero. On the 7th of October, where Hamas managed to breach that fence in multiple places, we saw what they did. We saw the murder, the rape, the mutilating of innocent Israelis, over 1,200. And just imagine, had Israel heeded this resolution back then and not built that security fence, what would have happened on the 7th of October?
It's shocking. I mean, I'll have to leave it there, Jeremy, but I wanted to get you on. I did not want this, I think, reprehensible decision by my own country, by your country, to pass at the UN and not recorded here on the show. Thank you for your time.